You wake up and your mind is already racing, thinking, planning, worrying. What will happen tomorrow? What if things go wrong? What if you fail? What if people leave? What if everything you're holding on to slips away? And you carry this weight all day, quietly, silently. No one sees it, but inside you are exhausted. Not because your life is hard, but because your mind never stops. Let me tell you something clearly. You are not tired because of your situation. You are tired because you are trying to control what was never yours to control. You are trying to manage outcomes that belong only to Allah. And the moment you understand this, truly understand it, your entire life begins to change. Because peace does not come from fixing everything. Peace comes from knowing that everything is already in the control of Allah. One, you are worrying about a future you have not seen. You are suffering over things that have not even happened. You are creating scenarios in your mind, conversations that never took place, failures that never occurred, losses that are not even real. And your heart reacts as if all of it is true. Your body feels the stress, your chest tightens, your mood changes, but nothing has actually happened. Understand this clearly. Your mind does not always tell you the truth. It tells you what it fears. And when you sit with those fears long enough, they begin to feel real. You start believing in outcomes that have no evidence. You begin to emotionally react to situations that only exist in your imagination. And this is how overthinking traps you. It convinces you that you are preparing for the future when in reality you are only suffering twice. Once in your mind and then again if it actually happens. Look at how this plays out in your daily life. You think about a conversation you might have, and before it even happens, you have already argued, defended yourself, imagined rejection, imagined being misunderstood. You walk into the real conversation already tired, already anxious, already expecting something negative, and even if nothing bad happens, you have already drained yourself emotionally. So tell me, what did that worrying achieve? Nothing. It didn't protect you. It didn't strengthen you. It only stole your peace. And this is the pattern you repeat again and again. You think about your future, your career, your relationships, your health, your finances, and your mind jumps to the worst possible outcomes. It rarely sits with hope. It rarely settles with trust. It runs toward fear. Why? Because the human mind is designed to detect danger, but you are not living in constant danger. You are living in constant anticipation of danger, and there is a difference. When you constantly anticipate problems, you begin to live in a state of stress even when your life is calm. Your body cannot tell the difference between real danger and imagined danger. So every time you overthink, your body reacts. Your heart beats faster. Your muscles tense. Your breathing becomes shallow. Over time, this becomes your normal state. You become used to feeling anxious, used to feeling restless, used to feeling on edge, and you start believing this is just how life is. But it's not. It is how your mind has trained itself to respond. Let me be direct with you. Worrying about the future does not prepare you for it. It only steals your strength from today. And today is the only moment you have control over. When you waste it in fear, you lose the ability to act properly. You lose clarity. You lose focus. You lose the energy you actually need to handle real challenges when they come. You think overthinking is helping you stay ready, but it is doing the opposite. It is exhausting you before anything even happens. It is like running a race in your mind over and over again until the real race comes and you have no strength left. And then you wonder why you feel overwhelmed, why you feel tired, why you feel like you can't handle things. It's because you have already used up your energy fighting imaginary battles. Now understand something deeper. Allah did not design you to live like this. He did not create you to carry the weight of every possible future outcome. He gave you a limited capacity for a reason. He gave you one day at a time, one moment at a time, because that is all you are meant to handle. When you try to carry tomorrow today, you break yourself. Not because life is too hard, but because you are stepping outside the boundaries of what you were created to manage. Think about this. Every single day that has passed in your life, you got through it. Even the days you thought you wouldn't survive, you did. Even the situations you feared the most, you handled them when they actually arrived. Not perfectly, not easily, but you handled them. Why? Because when the moment came, Allah gave you the strength you needed in that moment. But right now, you are asking for tomorrow's strength today. And it doesn't work like that. The strength for tomorrow will only come when tomorrow arrives. So when you try to face it now, you feel weak. You feel overwhelmed. Not because you are incapable, but because you are early. You are trying to solve something that is not meant to be solved yet. And this is where trust becomes essential. Because if you truly believe that Allah is in control, then you have to believe that He will not abandon you in your future. You have to believe that just as He took care of you in your past, He will take care of you in what is to come. But if you keep doubting that, if you keep thinking everything depends on your mental control, then of course you will feel anxious. Because deep down, you are trying to carry a responsibility that does not belong to you. So what should you do instead? Focus on what is in front of you right now. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. What can you do in this moment? What is within your control today? Your actions, your effort, your intention, your connection with Allah. That is your responsibility. The outcome is not. And once you start living like this, something changes inside you. The noise begins to reduce. The constant pressure begins to fade. You stop trying to solve everything at once. You stop chasing certainty in a world that was never meant to be fully certain. And slowly you begin to feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Peace. So ask yourself, honestly, why are you living in a day that does not exist yet? Why are you suffering over a future you have not seen? Come back to where you are. Come back to what is real. Because the moment you stop living in tomorrow is the moment you finally start living today. 2, overthinking is a lack of trust in Allah. This may be difficult to accept, but it needs to be said clearly. When you constantly overthink, when your mind keeps running through every possible outcome, every worst case scenario, every what if, what are you really doing? You are trying to control what you cannot see. And underneath that, there is a deeper issue, a lack of trust. Not a lack of belief. You believe in Allah, but belief is not the same as trust. Trust is when your heart is at ease, even when things are uncertain. Trust is when you do your part and you are able to let go of the result. But right now, you are doing your part and then holding on tightly to the outcome. You are trying to force things to go your way. You are trying to predict what will happen. You are trying to prepare for every possible situation, and it is exhausting you. Let's be honest. When you overthink, what are you really saying deep down? You are saying, if I don't figure this out, things might go wrong. You are saying, I need to stay in control or everything will fall apart. But think about that carefully. Since when were you in control of everything? Since when did your thoughts determine your destiny? Look at your past. There are things that worked out that you never planned for. There are things that failed despite all your planning. There are moments where everything changed suddenly without your control. So what does that tell you? It tells you that your life has always been in the control of Allah, not your thoughts, not your overthinking, not your anxiety. So then why are you acting like everything depends on you? This is where the problem begins. You are taking on a role that was never meant for you. You are trying to carry the responsibility of outcomes when your responsibility is only effort. And the more you take on what is not yours, the heavier your heart becomes. Understand this. Overthinking gives you a false sense of control. It makes you feel like you are doing something useful. It tricks you into believing that by thinking more, you are preparing better. But in reality, you are only repeating the same thoughts, going in circles without moving forward. You're not solving anything. You're just feeding your anxiety. And this is why you feel stuck. Because overthinking does not lead to clarity. It leads to confusion. It does not lead to action. It leads to hesitation. It does not strengthen your trust. It weakens it. Now, let's make something very clear. Trusting Allah does not mean you stop thinking completely. It does not mean you become careless or irresponsible. Islam does not teach you to ignore reality. You are required to think, to plan, to take action. But there is a limit. There is a point where thinking becomes harmful. There is a point where planning turns into obsession. There is a point where concern turns into anxiety. And most of you have crossed that point. You are no longer thinking to find solutions. You are thinking because you are afraid. You are not planning with clarity. You are planning with fear. And when fear is driving your thoughts, nothing good comes from it. Real trust looks different. Real trust means you think about a situation, you plan what you can, you take action, and then you stop. You do not keep going over it again and again. You do not replay every possibility. You do not sit there imagining every negative outcome. You leave it with Allah. And that is the part you are struggling with, letting go. Because letting go feels like losing control. It feels like you are doing nothing. It feels uncomfortable. But in reality, it is the most powerful thing you can do. Because when you let go, you are not abandoning the situation. You are handing it over to the one who has full control over it. Think about this. If you truly believed that Allah is Al-Hakim, the most wise, would you still be overthinking every outcome? If you truly believed that He knows what is best for you, even when you don't understand it, would you still be trying to control everything? If you truly believed that nothing happens without His permission, would you still be afraid of every possible scenario? Your overthinking is revealing something to you. It is showing you where your trust is weak. And instead of ignoring that, you need to face it. Because the solution is not to think more. The solution is to trust more. Start reminding yourself again and again that your life is not in your hands. And that is not a bad thing. That is the greatest source of relief. Because if everything depended on you, you would break under the pressure. But it doesn't. Allah is in control. Always has been. Always will be. So your role is simple. Do your best. Take the necessary steps. Be responsible. And then step back. Stop interfering with the outcome. Stop trying to control what happens next. Because no amount of overthinking will change what Allah has already written. And no amount of worry will protect you from what is meant to happen. But trust will give you something that overthinking never will. Peace. And the moment you replace overthinking with trust is the moment your heart finally begins to rest. 3, you want control, but control is an illusion. Be honest with yourself. What is it that you really want when you overthink? You want certainty, you want control. You want to feel like nothing can go wrong if you think about it enough. Plan for it enough. Prepare for every possible outcome. You want to eliminate risk. You want to guarantee results. But here is the reality. You keep avoiding. That level of control does not exist in your life. You are chasing something that was never given to you. Look at your life carefully. You did not choose your parents. You did not choose where you were born. You did not choose the exact opportunities that came your way or the ones that were taken from you. You do not control people's hearts. You cannot force someone to love you, respect you, stay with you, or understand you. You cannot guarantee success no matter how hard you work. You cannot prevent loss no matter how careful you are. And you cannot stop change no matter how much you resist it. So what exactly are you trying to control? This is where you need to wake up. Because your mind is constantly trying to grab onto something that keeps slipping away. You think if you just think a little more, plan a little more, worry a little more, you can hold everything together. But the more you try, the more you realize things still move in ways you didn't expect. And that frustrates you. That scares you. Because it reminds you of something you don't want to accept. You are not in control. And instead of accepting that, you fight it. You try to compensate with overthinking. You try to close every gap. You try to predict every outcome. But life does not work like that. There are too many variables, too many unseen factors, too many things happening beyond your awareness. And no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how prepared you are, you will never be able to account for all of them. This is why overthinking never ends. Because there is always another possibility, another what if, another scenario your mind can create. You solve one concern and your mind brings 10 more. You try to feel certain and your mind reminds you of everything that could go wrong. It is an endless loop, and the reason it never ends is because you are trying to achieve something impossible. Total control. And the longer you chase it, the more anxious you become. Because deep down, you know you don't have it. You feel it slipping through your fingers. And instead of letting go, you tighten your grip. You think more, you worry more, you push harder. But all that does is increase your stress. It does not bring you any closer to control. Now understand this. Allah did not create you to control everything. He created you to trust Him while navigating uncertainty. That is the test. Not to eliminate uncertainty, but to live with it while remaining steady. Because if everything was in your control, where would trust come in? Where would reliance come in? Where would your connection with Allah come in? You would become self-sufficient. You would rely only on yourself. And that would be your destruction. So Allah placed limits on your control intentionally. Not to frustrate you, but to guide you back to Him. But instead of seeing it that way, you see uncertainty as a problem. You see lack of control as a weakness. And you try to fix it. You try to remove it. You try to dominate it. And that is why you are suffering. Let me shift your perspective. What if the fact that you are not in control is actually a mercy? Think about it. If everything depended on you, every outcome, every decision, every result, you would collapse under that responsibility. The pressure alone would break you, but it doesn't. Because Allah did not put that burden on you. Your responsibility is limited. Your role is clear. You take action within your capacity. You make decisions based on what you know. You put in effort. You try your best. That is it. The rest, the unseen factors, the final outcomes, the consequences, all of that belongs to Allah. And when you truly accept this, something changes inside you. You stop trying to control everything. You stop obsessing over outcomes. You stop chasing certainty in a world that was never meant to give it to you. You begin to understand that your peace does not come from controlling life. It comes from trusting the one who controls life. But this acceptance does not happen overnight because your ego resists it. Your ego wants control. It wants to feel powerful. It wants to feel secure. And letting go of control feels like weakness. It feels like vulnerability. It feels like you are exposing yourself to risk. But here is the truth. You are already exposed to risk. You always have been. The difference is whether you carry that burden alone or you place it where it belongs. And when you place it with Allah, you are not becoming weak, you are becoming free. Free from the constant need to know everything. Free from the pressure of trying to manage every detail. Free from the endless cycle of overthinking. Free from the illusion that you were ever in control to begin with. So ask yourself, honestly, how much of your stress comes from things you cannot control? How much of your anxiety is tied to outcomes you cannot guarantee? How much of your mental exhaustion is coming from trying to manage what is not yours? Now imagine letting that go. Not your effort, not your responsibility, but the illusion that you control the outcome. Imagine waking up, doing what you need to do, making the best decisions you can, and then leaving the rest. No constant replaying, no endless what ifs, no mental exhaustion from trying to predict everything. That is what your life could feel like. That is the peace you are missing. But you will not reach it until you accept this one truth. You are not in control. And you were never meant to be. And the moment you stop fighting that reality is the moment your heart finally begins to rest. 4. Your peace is being destroyed by your own thoughts. You keep looking outside for the source of your stress. You think it's your situation, your past, people, your future. But if you are honest with yourself, most of your suffering is not coming from what is happening around you. It is coming from what is happening inside you, your thoughts, the constant noise in your mind, the endless stream of worries, doubts, fears, and assumptions that you keep replaying every single day. And the problem is, you trust those thoughts too much. Every thought that enters your mind, you treat it as important. You treat it as something you need to analyze, solve, or respond to. But not every thought deserves your attention. Not every thought is true. Not every thought is helpful. Yet you sit there giving your energy to all of them, one after another, until your mind becomes overwhelmed. Think about how your day usually goes. One small thought enters your mind, something simple, and instead of letting it pass, you grab onto it. You start analyzing it. You connect it to something else. Then another thought comes, and another, and another. Within minutes, you are no longer thinking clearly. You are trapped in a loop. Your mind is jumping from one fear to another, from one possibility to another, and your body reacts as if everything you are thinking is real. Your heart starts racing, your chest feels heavy, your mood drops, your energy disappears, and again, nothing has actually happened. This is what you need to understand. Your mind has the ability to create suffering, even in moments where your life is calm. You can be sitting in a quiet room, nothing is wrong, no one is hurting you, nothing is missing, and yet inside you feel restless, anxious, heavy. Why? Because your thoughts are creating a reality that does not exist outside your head, and you are feeding it. You are sitting with these thoughts, entertaining them, expanding them, believing them, without questioning them. And the more you engage with them, the stronger they become. It's like giving fuel to a fire. The more attention you give, the bigger it grows. Now here is where you need to be very clear with yourself. You are not your thoughts. Just because something appears in your mind does not mean it defines you. It does not mean it is true. It does not mean you have to follow it. But right now, you are doing exactly that. You are letting your thoughts control your emotions, your decisions, your state of mind. You are reacting to every negative idea as if it is a fact. And that is why your peace is disappearing. Let me give you a simple example. A thought comes into your mind. What if things go wrong? Instead of letting it pass, you hold on to it. You start imagining how things could go wrong. You build a full scenario. Then you feel fear. Then your body reacts. Then you believe something is actually wrong, even though nothing has changed in your reality. This is how your mind traps you. And the longer you stay in this pattern, the more it becomes your default way of thinking. You start overthinking everything. Every decision becomes difficult. Every situation feels heavy. Even small things begin to drain you. Not because they are complicated, but because your mind turns them into something bigger than they are. Now, understand this. Peace is not something you find outside. It is something you protect inside. And right now, you are not protecting it. You are allowing your thoughts to invade it, disturb it, and destroy it. So what is the solution? The solution is not to stop thoughts completely. That is not possible. Thoughts will come. That is how the mind works. But you can change how you respond to them. Instead of reacting immediately, you learn to pause. You learn to observe. A thought comes, and instead of jumping into it, you step back. You ask yourself, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Is it necessary right now? Most of the time, the answer is no. And when you realize that, you let it go. You do not engage. You do not build on it. You do not give it your energy. You allow it to pass like a cloud moving in the sky. It comes and it goes. But this requires discipline because your mind is used to reacting automatically. It is used to jumping into every thought without question. So in the beginning, it will feel difficult. You will catch yourself overthinking again and again. But every time you become aware, every time you choose not to engage, you weaken that pattern. And slowly, your mind begins to quiet down. Another important thing you need to understand, you cannot fill your mind with nothing. If you remove negative thoughts, you must replace them with something better, with remembrance of Allah, with awareness, with gratitude. Because an empty mind will always be filled again. And if you don't choose what fills it, your fears will. So when your mind starts running, bring it back. Bring it back to what is real. Bring it back to your breath. Bring it back to your connection with Allah. Remind yourself, nothing is happening right now. I am safe. I am okay. Allah is in control. And you repeat this again and again until it becomes natural. Because the goal is not to eliminate thoughts completely. The goal is to stop being controlled by them. Right now, your thoughts are controlling you. They are deciding how you feel, how you react, how you see your life. But it doesn't have to be that way. You have the ability to take that control back, not by force, but by awareness. So ask yourself honestly, how much of your suffering today came from actual problems and how much came from your own thoughts? You already know the answer. And once you see that clearly, you realize something powerful. If your thoughts are creating your suffering, then changing your relationship with them can restore your peace. But it starts with one decision: to stop believing everything your mind tells you. Because the moment you stop feeding those thoughts is the moment they begin to lose their power over you. And that is the moment your peace starts to return. 5. What is written for you will never miss you. You are living with a constant fear, a quiet anxiety that follows you everywhere. The fear of missing out, the fear of losing something important, the fear that maybe, just maybe, if you don't think enough, plan enough, push enough, something meant for you will slip away. And because of that fear, you hold on tightly. You overthink every decision. You question every step. You replay every opportunity. You worry about timing, about choices, about whether you are doing enough or doing it right. You keep asking yourself, what if I miss my chance? But listen carefully. What is written for you will never miss you. Not because you are perfect, not because you control everything, but because Allah has already decided it. This is not just something you say. This is something you need to understand deeply. Because right now, you say you believe it, but your actions show otherwise. If you truly believed that what is meant for you cannot escape you, you would not be this anxious, you would not be this restless, you would not be trying to control every outcome as if everything depends on you. Let's break this down in a way that you cannot ignore. Think about the things that have come into your life, the people you met, the opportunities you got, the moments that changed your direction. How many of those did you fully plan? How many of those did you see coming exactly as they happened? Very few, if any. Yet they still reached you. They still became part of your story. Why? Because they were written for you. Now think about the things you wanted so badly, but they never happened. No matter how much you tried, no matter how much you planned, no matter how much you worried, they didn't come to you. At the time, it hurt. It confused you. You questioned everything, but later, you started to see something that maybe, just maybe, not getting those things protected you. That maybe the delay, the rejection, the closed door was actually a form of mercy. But when you are in the moment, you forget all of this. You start believing that everything depends on your effort alone. You start thinking that if you don't worry enough, you might lose what is yours. You begin to chase outcomes as if they are running away from you. And this is where your peace disappears. Because you are trying to secure something that is already secured. Or trying to force something that was never yours. Understand this clearly. Your effort matters. You are required to act. You are required to try. You are required to take the means available to you. But your effort is not what guarantees the result. It is part of the process, not the controller of the outcome. And this is where you are confused. You are mixing responsibility with control. You think being responsible means you have to control everything. You think if you let go of the outcome, you are being careless. But that is not true. Real responsibility is doing your part fully without attaching your heart to the result. Because once your heart becomes attached, fear enters, anxiety enters, overthinking begins, and suddenly your actions are no longer driven by clarity, they are driven by desperation. You start chasing things not because they are right for you, but because you are afraid of losing them. You start holding on to people, not because they bring you peace, but because you are scared of being alone. You start forcing outcomes, not because they are beneficial, but because you cannot accept uncertainty. And all of this comes from one root, the fear that what is meant for you might not reach you. But that fear is false. Nothing written for you can be taken away by anyone. No person can block it. No situation can stop it. No mistake can cancel it. If Allah has written something for you, it will reach you. Even if the entire world stands in the way. And if something is not written for you, no amount of effort, worry, or control will bring it into your life. So then ask yourself, why are you exhausting yourself? Why are you chasing something that is either already yours or never meant to be yours? Why are you losing your peace over something that is already decided? This doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. This is where people misunderstand. You still act, you still work, you still try, but you do it with a different mindset. You do it with calmness, with trust, without desperation. You do your part and then you step back. You don't sit there replaying every possibility. You don't keep questioning whether you did enough. You don't keep imagining what could go wrong, because once you have done what you can, the rest is no longer your responsibility. And this is where real peace comes from. Imagine living like this. You make a decision, and instead of overthinking it for hours or days, you accept it. You trust that whatever comes from it is what was meant for you. If it works out, you are grateful. If it doesn't, you are at peace. Because you know it was never yours to begin with. No regret, no constant second guessing, no mental exhaustion, just clarity. But to reach that state, you have to let go of something. You have to let go of the belief that everything depends on you. You have to let go of the illusion that you can secure outcomes through worry. You have to let go of the fear that you might miss what is meant for you. Because the truth is, you cannot miss it. And once this settles in your heart, not just in your mind, your entire way of living changes. You stop rushing. You stop forcing. You stop holding on too tightly. You begin to move through life with a sense of ease. Not because life is easy, but because you are no longer fighting it. So remind yourself again and again, what is written for me will reach me, and what is not written for me will never be mine. And the moment you truly accept this is the moment your worry begins to fade and your peace begins to grow. 6. Allah's plan is better than your expectations. You have a picture in your mind of how your life should go. You have timelines, you have expectations, you have specific outcomes you want to see. You think, by this age I should be here, by this time this should happen, this person should stay, this opportunity should work out. And when life does not match that picture, something inside you starts to break. You feel anxious, you feel frustrated, you begin to question everything. But pause for a moment and ask yourself honestly, who told you your plan is the best plan? You assume that because you want something, it must be good for you. You assume that because something makes sense to you, it must be right. But your understanding is limited. You only see what is in front of you. You only judge based on what you feel in the moment. You don't see what is hidden. You don't see the long-term consequences. You don't see how one event connects to another in ways you could never imagine. But Allah sees all of it. He sees what you don't see. He knows what you don't know. He understands the outcomes of every path, not just the one you are focused on. And when you truly accept that, your entire perspective changes, because you begin to realize just because something didn't go your way doesn't mean it went wrong. It went according to a plan that is wiser than yours. The problem is, you are attached to your expectations. You are not just hoping for something. You are holding on to it. You are building your happiness around it. You are saying, if this happens, I'll be okay. If this works out, I'll be happy. And the moment it doesn't, your peace collapses. Why? Because your happiness was tied to something uncertain. You placed your peace in an outcome instead of placing it in trust. And this is where your suffering begins. Because expectations create pressure. They create fear. They create anxiety. You start thinking, what if this doesn't happen? What if I lose this? What if things don't go as planned? And now you are no longer living peacefully. You are living in constant tension. But understand this clearly. Life was never meant to follow your script. There are things you want that will not happen. There are delays that will frustrate you. There are losses that will confuse you. There are changes that will feel unfair. But none of this means your life is falling apart. It means your life is being directed, guided, shaped in a way that you do not yet understand. Think about your past again. There were moments where things didn't go your way. Situations you thought would define your future, but they collapsed. Plans you built, but they failed. At the time, it felt like everything was going wrong. But later, you realized something, that those moments redirected you. They took you away from paths that were not meant for you. They led you to places you could not have reached otherwise. But when you are in the moment, you don't see that. You only see loss. You only feel disappointment. You only focus on what didn't happen. And because of that, you resist what is actually happening. You fight it mentally. You question it. You try to change it. And that resistance creates even more pain. Because you are not just dealing with the situation, you are fighting against it. Now imagine something different. Imagine you face those same situations, But instead of resisting, you accepted. Not with weakness, not with giving up, but with trust. You say to yourself, this is not what I wanted, but Allah knows what I need. You allow yourself to feel, but you don't let your emotions turn into doubt. You continue to move forward even when things don't make sense. That is strength. Because real strength is not controlling everything. It is remaining steady when things are out of your control. You need to understand something very important. Allah's plan is not just about giving you what you want. It is about shaping who you become. It is about protecting you from harm you cannot see. It is about preparing you for things you are not ready for yet. It is about guiding you even when the path feels unclear. Sometimes what you want is delayed because you are not ready for it. Sometimes what you want is removed because it would harm you. Sometimes what you want is replaced with something better that you cannot yet recognize. But your mind, it focuses only on the immediate. It wants answers now. It wants clarity now. It wants things to make sense now. And when they don't, it becomes restless. This is where trust becomes your anchor. Because trust allows you to move forward without having all the answers. It allows you to stay calm even when things are uncertain. It allows you to accept that not everything needs to make sense right now. And that is where peace comes from. Not from everything going your way, but from knowing that even when things don't go your way, they are still going in the right way. So stop measuring your life based on your expectations. Stop thinking that just because something didn't happen, it was a failure. Stop assuming that your plan is the standard that everything should follow. Because your plan is limited, your vision is limited, but Allah's plan is complete. And the moment you stop clinging to your expectations is the moment you start seeing life differently. You stop reacting with frustration. You stop questioning every delay. You stop overthinking every outcome. And you begin to move with a sense of calm, knowing that whatever is happening is part of something greater than you. So remind yourself again and again, Allah's plan is better than my expectations. Even when I don't understand it, even when it hurts, even when it doesn't make sense. Because one day you will look back and you will see clearly that what you once questioned was actually what saved you. And that realization will bring you a level of peace that overthinking could never give you. 7. Let go, and you will finally feel light again. Right now, you are carrying too much, not physically, but mentally, emotionally. You are holding on to outcomes that have not happened yet. You are holding on to people who may not even stay. You are holding on to expectations that life has not promised you. And all of this is weighing you down. You wake up with it, you carry it throughout the day, you go to sleep with it, and you have become so used to this weight that you think this is normal, that this is just how life feels, heavy, draining, restless. But it's not. It's not your life that is heavy. It's what you are holding on to that is making it heavy. And the truth is, no one is forcing you to carry all of this. You are choosing to. You are choosing to replay the same worries. You are choosing to hold on to outcomes as if your life depends on them. You are choosing to keep control over things that were never yours to control. And every time you do that, you add more weight to your heart. But here is something you need to understand clearly. Letting go is not losing. Letting go is not giving up. Letting go is not weakness. Letting go is freedom. Because when you let go, you are not abandoning your responsibilities. You are not becoming careless. You are simply releasing what was never yours to carry in the first place. Think about this. What exactly are you holding on to right now? A future that has not happened. A result that is uncertain. A person whose heart you cannot control. A situation that is already out of your hands. Ask yourself, honestly, is holding on to it changing anything? It's not. It's only draining you. And this is where you need to make a decision. Not a temporary decision, but a real one. Are you going to keep holding on to everything and continue living in stress? Or are you finally going to let go? Because you cannot have both. You cannot hold on to control and expect peace at the same time. You cannot cling to every outcome and expect your mind to be calm. It doesn't work like that. Peace requires release, and release requires trust. This is where most people struggle, because letting go feels uncomfortable. It feels like you are stepping into uncertainty. It feels like you are giving up control, and your mind resists that. It tells you, no, keep thinking, keep worrying, stay alert, stay in control. But that voice is the same voice that has been exhausting you all this time. So instead of listening to it, challenge it. Tell yourself, I have done what I can. The rest is not mine. And mean it, not just once, but again and again. Because your mind will try to pull you back into old patterns. It will bring the same worries, the same fears, the same what ifs. But every time it does, you have a choice. You can either grab onto those thoughts, or you can let them pass. And at first, it will not be easy. You will feel the urge to go back to overthinking. You will feel uncomfortable sitting in uncertainty, but stay with it, because that discomfort is temporary. What comes after it is relief. A kind of relief you haven't felt in a long time. You start to notice something, your mind becomes quieter. The constant noise begins to fade. You are no longer reacting to every thought. You are no longer carrying every fear. And for the first time, you feel light. Not because your life suddenly became perfect, but because you stopped making it heavier than it needed to be. You start living in the present. You start focusing on what is actually in front of you. You stop jumping ahead into the future. You stop dragging the weight of uncertainty with you everywhere you go. And that changes everything. Your decisions become clearer. Your actions become more focused. Your emotions become more stable. Why? Because you are no longer divided between what is real and what is imagined. You are fully present. And this is how you were meant to live. Not trapped in your mind. Not constantly worried about what might happen. Not holding on to every possible outcome. But grounded, calm, aware. And the most powerful part of letting go is what it does to your relationship with Allah. Because when you let go, you are not just freeing yourself from stress, you are placing your trust where it belongs. You are saying, Ya Allah, I have done my part, I leave the rest to you. And that is not a small thing. That is a complete shift in how you live. You move from control to surrender, from anxiety to trust, from pressure to peace. And once you experience that, you realize something important. You realize that the weight you were carrying was never necessary. That most of your stress was self-created. That most of your fear was based on things that never even happened. So why go back to that? Why return to a mindset that drains you when you now know a way that frees you? Let go. Let go of the need to control every outcome. Let go of the fear of missing out. Let go of the constant worrying about the future. Let go of the attachment to things you cannot guarantee. And hold on to one thing instead, trust. Because when you truly trust that Allah is in control, you stop trying to take His place. You stop carrying what belongs to Him, and your heart finally finds rest. So make it simple for yourself. Every time you feel overwhelmed, every time your mind starts racing, remind yourself, this is not mine to carry, and release it again and again until it becomes natural. Because the moment you truly let go is the moment you finally feel light again. You kept searching for peace in changing your situation, fixing every problem, controlling every outcome, but peace was never there. It was never waiting for everything to go your way. It was never dependent on people staying, plans working, or the future becoming certain. Peace was always here, waiting for you to let go. waiting for you to stop carrying what was never yours, waiting for you to stop fighting battles that only exist in your mind, waiting for you to stop trying to control a life that already has a controller. You thought worrying would protect you, but it only drained you. You thought overthinking would prepare you, but it only confused you. You thought holding on would secure everything, but it only made you heavier. And now you see it clearly. You were not meant to live like this. You were meant to act and then trust, to try and then let go, to walk forward without needing to know every step ahead. Because the one who created you, the one who knows you better than you know yourself, is already in control of what comes next. So why are you still afraid? What are you really holding on to that is worth losing your peace over? Let it go. Not because life is easy, but because Allah's in control. Not because you have all the answers, but because you trust the one who does. Not because nothing will go wrong, but because even when things go wrong, they are still part of a plan that is right for you. So move forward with a lighter heart. Do what you can and leave what you cannot. Stop worrying, because the moment you truly trust is the moment you finally become free.